All right, good morning, KW Milwaukee, on a beautiful Springfield day on May 2nd. It's, you know what, Stillman? I've noticed the flowers have popped and it's coming. It's coming. Well, we'll see. But it's a beautiful day in Milwaukee, Tuesday, May 2nd. I got an action-packed morning for you, Kay. And so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to challenge your traditional thought and wisdom as it relates to how you take your systematic approach to your listings. Okay. And I'm going to share with you some insights that some of your peers have leaned into that we haven't discussed really at all. But I wanted to share with you some insights that some of your peers have leaned into in terms of a program around helping you take listings and your systematic approach as to how you take listings that may be different than the way you think about it today. Cool. All right. So before we do that, a couple quick announcements for you. There's no team meeting next week, Tuesday, May 9th, as the majority of our leadership team will be down in Austin, Texas, as we are learning different ways in which that we can lead and serve you, and thinking about our traditional approach in ways in which that we can better serve you and your businesses. So there's no Tuesday team meeting May 9th. With that, we always open the team meeting with our mission, vision, values, beliefs, and perspectives. We talk about building careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving. And I want to celebrate two groups of people in particular today that showed up on my radar in the last week, A. And then B, I want to share with you two opportunities and ways in which that we can give back. One of them is Red Day. Another one is coming up towards the end of May through our KW Milwaukee Serving Committee and community. But first up, I want to share with you something. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I was at Camp Bar for the Cream City Mortgage launch, and I had a conversation with Karen Rapogli and Tim Reardon. And Karen came up to me and said, "Charlie, I got to be honest with you. I went to the first 2 days of Bold and I thought it was total bullshit." Okay. I wasn't for me, wasn't sure how it was going to show up in my life, really was challenging in the way in which that I showed up. However, I had accountability because I paid to be there and I decided to show up. Okay. Then she said something flipped for me in weeks, maybe 3 or 4. I can't remember the exact week as to what was going on. And she talked about it totally transformed her life and her business. And we talked about her mindset and specifically the group of people that she surrounded herself with. Okay. And they talked about how their Bold group and team was on a group chat and continuously is encouraging each other, holding each other accountable, and so on and so forth. Okay. And Karen and Tim talked to me specifically around how that accountability and community really has helped them in a tough environment and tough market. And so then a couple days goes by. I thought it was kind of a cool story. I didn't really think, much of it other than, hey, I'm really glad that this group has continued to find cohesiveness and working through the tough market together. Right. And then a text was shared with me. Okay. And in the text thread, here's the 6 people on their Bold team. Okay. I think Tim threw out, "Hey, we signed up for Red Day. This is what we're doing. It'd be a lot of fun to see people." And they just talked, you can see the exchanges, but there was one very specific, important thing in the middle of it that I need to point out. And I think for the 100 or so people that took Bold, I would encourage you to lean into your teams. Here's why. Jason Roman texted this: "I have decided to retire from GE Healthcare effective this Friday and go into full-time in real estate. So I plan on signing up. Gotta be bold to be beautiful." Okay. Huge shout out to Jason Roman for retiring and making the switch from part-time to full-time. But the other thing here is the power of the community of that room. And as we sit here 4 or 5 months after the fact of Bold, is don't lose sight of your community. You don't need to be on a team to have a community. You don't need to feel lost in the shuffle of KW, because there are groups of people that want to support you and uplift you. Okay. And I think this is an incredibly powerful example of how a small group of people, 6 people, were holding each other accountable and helping put wind in each other's sails in a really tough environment. So congrats to this group, congrats to the Bold team, and congrats to Jason Roman on a big life decision on going full time. And he was able to do that in spite of the industry headwinds. And I think that's a huge testament to that community. So shout out to that group. Second thing that I wanted to do and point out is, for those of you who've been around a while, I'm a big advocate for the Milwaukee Business Journal. I think that some of the journalism and things that they put out is actually really decent stuff that makes you think and it allows you to look at industries differently and think about, okay, if I learn about XYZ industry, how do I apply it to my industry, so on and so forth. We've been fortunate to have a few people named 40 under 40. But they also do an incredible award called Women of Influence. I've had a few friends win Women of Influence. And if you look across the group of, I'm not entirely sure the total group of Women of Influence, but it's pretty small. It's only like 25 to 30 women that they recognize. And I think last year they had 375 submissions across southeastern Wisconsin. And we had one of our own recognized. And so I got to give a shout out to Katie Falk, who was recognized in the mentor category along with 2 other women. And these are really, if you look at the list of the Women of Influence, really powerful women in southeastern Wisconsin across business, and what they do to give back to our community. And they recognize Katie for her efforts, not only professionally, but personally from a philanthropic standpoint and what she does to give back through various organizations, including, if you don't know this, the game of golf. She's in the Wisconsin Golf Hall of Fame. She was my next door neighbor growing up, and I caddied for her for 10 years. And so I saw her competitive spirit, but what she did to pour into others. So with that, if you see Katie or if you got her number, shoot her a text, congratulate her for winning Women of Influence. So Katie, congrats. Cool. So the other thing I talked about a little bit, and we've been hammering this home, and I got to give a shout out to this group because we have 200 plus people signed up already, is what has come out of 2020 is that the world has become nicer. Okay, I talked about this last week, the untold story, people became kinder. Here's the data that shows how people have helped strangers across different communities and continents all over the world. And we've talked about Red Day, it's May 11th. Okay, this will be the last time I talk about it, May 11th, 2023. It's a choose your own activity, choose your own adventure. Here's what we have, Axe Housing is totally full. The United Way Diaper Bank, we have a goal of packing 50,000 diapers. We could use some help. We need 20 more people to sign up for Waukesha slots in order to fill that out. The beautiful thing is, well, we have, I think, 130 people already registered for Zacharias Acres. We really effectively, Zacharias Acres could really only effectively manage 150 of us. So there's really only like 20 to 30 more slots available there. But I got to give a shout out to the group of everybody who is registered so far for Red Day and giving back and what it can do for you in your lives and feeling a sense of gratitude towards that. So guys, if you haven't registered, kind of last chance. And then as a reminder, we are collecting, if you aren't able to participate in May 11th, we are still collecting food pantry donations to go impact 4 locations closest to our market centers. Cool. So if you haven't registered, sign up today. Last thing, as it relates to kind of rounding out our mission, vision, values, beliefs, and perspectives in terms of opportunities. A couple weeks ago, we as an organization bought several tables at the Honor Flight Gala. You can see here an example of the KW community coming together to support the Honor Flight Gala, a great group of people who got together to support a great cause. And we've kind of had this organic upswell in terms of people coming together, led by, I know, Sarah Oberbrunner, Janine, Charisse, Jean Greco, Kelly Nicolancy, Coco Wallach, and the group of providing opportunities on a monthly basis, not on a grand scale, but just opportunities for people to come together to serve our community if it so moves you or you so choose to. And I'm incredibly grateful for the amount of energy that people have put behind Red Day. But I just want to give you a heads up on Saturday, May 20th. If you have not had the opportunity or have never seen what a welcome home looks like for the Stars and Stripes Honor Flight, I'd highly, highly encourage you to do it. There's a bunch of us that are going to be signing up to represent Keller Williams to welcome home the vets after a day in Washington, D.C. And to put it in perspective, if you haven't seen this, it's like a mini ticker tape parade at General Mitchell International Airport. There's thousands of people that show up with flags, music, bands, the whole thing, as we welcome these veterans off their flight from Washington, D.C. So this month's opportunity outside of Red Day, because it was kind of an additional thing, is if you'd like on Saturday, May 20th, and just so you know, your kids can do this, your spouse, partner, family, whoever it is that you want to bring. Saturday, May 20th, we're getting a group together to go down to General Mitchell International Airport and welcome veterans home from an honor flight to Washington, D.C. Be on the lookout. We'll send the registration details to you guys later on this morning if you are interested in participating in a really, really cool, unique event. So thank you to Sarah, Janine, and the rest of the team who helped pull together different opportunities for us to get back in our communities each month. Sound good? Beautiful. All right. With that, I got Vranik, who's coming up to talk about some free marketing assets for you as it relates to Tech Tuesday. And then we'll jump over to Steph with some compliance updates.
All right. Good morning, everybody. So I kind of wanted to piggyback off of what I talked about last week in regards to the website. And I just wanted to specifically go into some of the resources that we have available. And so one of the things I want you guys to pay special attention to is that resources tab that you see in the navigation menu. And so this is going to include just a lot of like market center resources. So like you'll find our office rosters, earnest money protocol, submit a broker's open request, and tour and things like that. But we're also going to include all of the team meeting slides are going to be in there as well. And you'll also find a lot of the KW event resources. So all of the resources from the last mega camp, family reunion. If you didn't, or if you weren't able to make the Shift and Overthrive event, all of those slides are now up there as well. So you can take a look at all of those. I think there were like over 100 of them. So a lot of great stuff in there. But also we've got these free marketing assets that you can just click on that marketing assets section under the tech and marketing resources tab that you see there. And this is going to take you to Google Drive with a lot of free content. So we've got 2023 holiday posts. So if you need something to post on a specific holiday on your social media accounts, you've got content there. You'll find all of the Milwaukee market update posts. Those PNG, those image files are there for you to download and use however you'd like. And then you're also, you're going to find all of the 12 Direct postcard images, and both PDF and PNG files. And so just to go into that a little bit more, I've released some new content in regards to the 12 Direct campaign. So if you haven't taken a look at these are available just to grab and go basically from our website. If you want to personalize those 12 Direct postcards, just reach out to the KW Marketing Concierge, that 12 Direct campaign on our website, submit a request, and we're going to customize the back of the postcard for all of these templates for you. And then you also have the option to email these out. So all of these are created as an email smart plan. They're in command. Anything that I create, I'm going to title it with KW Milwaukee at the end. So if you just go into the smart plan library and search for KW Milwaukee, you're going to find all of these templates in there. Also including the Milwaukee market update post. So all of that's in there. And then finally, you can just share it on social media. So you can take the image, share it on any of your social media accounts. So you've got 3 different ways that you can share these, this content. It's Milwaukee specific, really Southeast Eastern Wisconsin specific. So take this and utilize it. It's really for you guys to use however you'd like. If you have any questions, reach out to me. And then finally, we're sticking with a theme of the month. So this month is all around mastering your social media for your business. So this Thursday, May 4th, Kathleen and I are diving into the entire social media playbook from Family Reunion. And then at the end of the month, we've got a client engagement panel on the 18th. And we're gonna huddle up in person for a social media workshop on May 25th. Some more details to come on both of those. So, that's it.
Cool. Brannick, thank you. Appreciate your help. All right. And guys, as a reminder, just because I had many people ask, like, hey, I want this from the team meeting slides. Hey, I need this from the market stats update. Like, instead of flooding your email inbox, just know that these are available now every single week immediately after post team meeting. If there's anything that you have that you want to grab from the team meeting, we'll post these under the resources tab on the website as well. Cool. Lieutenant Steph, what do these guys need to be paying attention to this month?
Good morning, guys. Just a reminder of our upcoming May contract training topics. We're diving deep into the offer to purchase and tacking on the addendum AC provisional language as well. We had to do a quick pivot yesterday and we were not able to cover the financing contingency yesterday. We're going to move that to next week. So it'll be financing and appraisal contingencies plus the appraisal gap next week. Then on the 15th, inspection contingency plus the inspection threshold language. And then we'll end the month with the accelerator clause, our favorite. All right, so then as I told Charlie last night that I'll be 2 minutes, I might be 3 minutes today. I wanted to go over variable rate commissions. We usually, again, always recall questions from the previous week to inform what we want to discuss at Tuesday meeting. So this week it'll be variable rate commission. So again, it's when the seller and the listing firm negotiate a commission structure where the seller agrees to pay a specific commission if the property is sold by the listing firm, and a different amount of commission if the sale results with the efforts of a cooperating firm. So what you guys need to know as listing agents, so when filling out our listing contracts, if we do a variable rate commission, you must define the parameters for the different rates in the additional provisions of the listing contract. Otherwise, the contract may not be enforceable. So, you know, an example that I saw recently that Bernie brought to my attention. Thank you again, Bernie. It was, I think, 5% to 6%, and then just left open without any parameters defining what we would charge for 5% and what parameters define a 6% listing charge. So we need to define that in the additional provisions of the listing contract. And then per the standard of practice in the code of ethics, we need to disclose this. So we are required to disclose the existence of a variable rate commission to cooperating brokers. We'll do that in the MLS. If you guys recall, there is a field in the MLS asking if it's a variable rate commission. You'll say yes or no. So mark yes if it is a variable rate. And then if asked by a cooperating firm, we are required to inform the cooperating broker of the differential between a cooperative transaction and a transaction occurring within the firm. So this is not something that we need to disclose upfront in the private remarks, but if a cooperating broker sees that it's a variable rate commission and asks you, we do need to disclose that. So just reminders for everybody who's using that in their practice.
Can you give us some example? Why somebody would do that?
So what I see most often is if it's traditionally we'll charge 6%. Hopefully we're all charging 6%. And then let's say if I were to bring the buyer to my own listing, I might then charge 5.5%. So that's a variable rate. So
Why would
because it could,
Steph,
yes.
Steph, you got to repeat the question when you answer something from the room.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Connie asked what an example would be. So an example of a variable rate commission in a listing would be if I would traditionally charge 6%. But if I, as the listing broker, also brought the buyer, I might tell the seller that they only need to pay 5.5% because I brought both sides. And why would we want to know this? Why would we want to disclose this to the cooperating firm? Because it gives us an advantage potentially as the listing firm. If we bring our own buyer, a cooperating broker needs to know that when they're, it helps inform how they're going to write an offer potentially. So, all right. Let me know if you have any questions, and Joan, of course. And then just some quick reminders about delayed listings. We're getting this a lot. So MLS is coming at us quite frequently with this. If we have a delayed listing, don't forget to upload the delayed listing form to MLS along with the listing contract. The listing still needs to be uploaded to MLS within 48 hours of the listing start date. So that is the start date found on line 311 of the listing contract. Your listing start date and showing start date will be different. I just had an example recently of somebody who put the showing start date for a delayed listing the same as the listing start.
That's all right. I'm just listening to a Zoom meeting, but that's all right.
Jasmine. Thank you. And then just a reminder that the listing contract is signed. The date that the listing contract is signed might be different than the listing start date as well. So we just get a lot of questions on which date to go off of. It's always the listing start date on line 311 of the listing contract. That's all I got. Thank you, guys.
Steph, I believe we have one question. Tosh, did you have a question?
My question was, are there current complaints or cases pending now regarding this commission?
Are there current complaints or issues relating to the commission?
Sorry, Charlie. There are not actually. We just have been seeing variable rate listing contracts come in on our end that are either incomplete or have been told by MLS that they have not checked the variable rate commission box field on MLS. So that's why I wanted to put out those reminders again, but no complaints, definitely not. I'd let you know, of course. Thanks, guys.
Cool. Thanks, Steph. All right. I'm going to share with you to set up this panel in discussion. I'm going to share with you something that my coach sent me on Sunday morning on perspective on the market. Okay. And I'm going to read this to you so I don't butcher it, but I thought it was really incredibly healthy to think about. Okay. Times are tough for many people in companies. And he used an example on our coaching call last week of Bed Bath & Beyond that a year or two ago was $35 a share. Last week was 11 cents a share. Okay. They were I believe, I could be totally wrong on this. I believe they were a $15 to $20 billion revenue company. Okay. $1 billion revenue company. And he shared the perspective on if you think a $15 to $20 billion company is insulated from having tough times, buyers beware of the Bed Bath & Beyond story. And so on Sunday, he wrote an email out to the group of us in his coaching program. And he said, times are tough for many people in companies. What goes up must come down, and what falls drastically bounces. However, for many, this is the first experience of hardship, challenge, fear, or financial uncertainty. So with their lack of experience, they aren't sure how or when it will ever bounce back. That being said, there are 4 reasons why people permanently fail in business. 1, they don't prospect. Businesses that rely on past clients in their previous database as the only source of future business find in tough times that less of those people are transacting or referring due to their own challenges, and without continuously finding them motivated, those businesses that do not prospect will slowly fail. 2, they don't market. The truth is, the best business is not always the most successful. I'll use an example. Does McDonald's have the best cheeseburgers? No. No one would ever mistake McDonald's to be the best cheeseburger in the US. But the best known business is. Okay, the truth is the best business is not always the most successful. The best known business is. Marketing today starts in the thousands and expands into the billions for the biggest businesses in the world. Many businesses who think they are marketing play a game too small and too infrequent to even make a dent in the noise. Something to think about. The average person in southeastern Wisconsin knows 12 real estate agents. 82% of the time, they only interview one person. 92% of the time, they only interview two people. Are you playing too small of a game, and are you communicating with them too infrequently to even make a dent? 3, they have poor financial habits, and I see this every day. If you don't know how to save and invest, you cannot have a future when the time comes to pivot and adjust. And 4, they don't listen to the market changes. If you are not prospecting, you won't hear each day what the market wants. If you go long enough without engaging in the market, you are disrupted by someone more in tune and innovative in your sector. This is simply fixed by always prospecting. So I put it together in a one-pager for you, and I share that perspective for you as I thought it was incredibly, incredibly powerful as I read it on Sunday morning. As we think about where we are so far at this point in the year and what your business looks like. Now, I also share with you this. I'm only going to give you 2 things as it relates to the weekly market insights, and then I'm going to lead into the panel. First, this is new listings that came to the market in the last 24 weeks. I've been sharing this with you on a regular basis to show you where we are as it currently sits on May 2nd. Last week, there were 449 new listings. The latest 24-week average is 368 new listings. That's roughly a third higher than the latest 24 weeks. Again, the tide is rising. Now, the good news is in all of that is this is units that have gone under contract. Last week, there were 454. So there were 449 that went up, that came onto the market, and 454 that came off the market. We're continuing the trend of a 1-to-1 swap, which means the inventory situation isn't getting any better. However, you can directly see the correlation between new listings that come to the market and the units that go under contract in the market. Okay. The beautiful thing is the tide now is effectively rising on May 2nd, as it historically seasonally would. Okay. The wind is in your sails. We have to take advantage of it. Now, here's where I want to challenge your traditional thoughts and wisdoms as it relates to how you bring listings to the market. Okay. And I'm going to share 3 people. One, Lisa Packard, who's here in the North Shore. She's an incredible agent down at KW in New Berlin. I have Peter Gossman, who's going to jump on, who's on the Zoom, who's been investing in his training and education as it relates to this program. And then 3, I have Gene Goldschmidt, a very good friend of mine's up in the Twin Cities, who's also been investing in this training and education program. And what I wanted to do is share with you and challenge you on your traditional thoughts and wisdom as to how these guys are bringing listings to the market through a program that I'll share with you very shortly. Sound good? Beautiful. All right, with that, Lisa, I'll start with you because you're sitting right next to me.
Yeah, I was in the neighborhood.
Yeah. She's going to a dentist appointment right down the street at 10 o'clock.
Mhm.
Okay, so 72 sold. And for full transparency, guys, like you may have heard of 72 sold. It came out last August. I purposely haven't pushed the program at all because I wanted to say, let's wait and see what the results are and how people are investing in it. And we've been fortunate. We've had 3 incredible people that were early adopters to the program. And so I just wanted them to share with you their experiences of what they've learned. What this isn't is a pitch. This is not a pitch. What I want them to share with you is what the value they've added to their businesses through this program. So Lisa, for you, how has the system challenged your traditional thought processes and approach to your traditional listing system?
I completely threw out my traditional listing system. I've been an agent. This is my 10th year. So for 9 years, I was doing it a certain way, or maybe more like for 5 years, ever since I came to KW, because I didn't start here. But I used the Glover U listing system. Like I dropped off a pre-listing packet. I had my pre-qualifying questions that I asked on the phone. And then I had like my script that I had memorized for when I get to the house, and I dumped all of that. So,
and what was it that made you dump it?
I had been listening to the 72 Sold team calls. There's 3 team calls a week that Greg Haig, the creator of 72 Sold, does. And so I heard about 72 Sold through Mega Camp. And I'm like, wow, that sounds awesome. I'm gonna sign up. It was, the fee to sign up was low. And then I just started going to his meetings and learning the system. And it didn't make any sense to me for I'd say like a good 2 months or so, because I started, hopping on these calls and maybe like August or September. It didn't make any sense. And then one day it just did. And I decided, okay, every listing that I take that I'm going to put on the MLS in 2023, I'm going to do the 72 Sold way. And so I started running my listings that way. Like the first listings I got in January and February, I did it. I just like took it on faith that this was going to work if I just followed the program. I'm a high C, I'm an SC on the disc. So like, I love doing things in a certain way. If someone tells me to do it that way, like I want to do it that way. And like, I like baking, not cooking. So, I was seeing how awesome it worked and how happy my sellers were and how happy the buyers were. And just, there was no reason to go back to the other way I did it before.
Okay, so Gene, I'm going to flip this to you because you are very involved in the system up in the Twin Cities. And Lisa has talked, I think, on the peripheral, on the outskirts of what the system is. How is the system different in terms of the tangibles of how you approach a listing?
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for having me on here. This is great. And then ask tough questions. I mean, I don't know if anybody else is going to ask questions, but just, I hate being on things where they don't get very specific about stuff. And I want to be as specific as possible to just kind of, be able to share with you. But so to me, it's been a total differentiator. Okay. And so it totally differentiates me from everybody else. And any other agent out there because of the program that I'm following through. If you look at this program, there's 6 independent studies that have been done that show independent studies that show that we're getting 8.4 to 12% more for our clients on their listings than what a traditional realtor does. Okay, so we're getting 8.4 to 12% more, and so I've got in these situations with other agents and in a competition, and there'll be, the top agents. I mean, even if you look around the call here and you pick out who are the top 5 producing agents in all these faces on here, and if we all show up at a listing appointment, $1 million listing, which one of the 5 is going to get that client more money? Nobody. It's all going to be the same. Everybody's going to, you're all great at realtor. You're going to be a great agent. You're going to do a great job for that client. But everybody's going to do the same thing that I've always done, exact same thing. But now going through this process, I get my clients more money, and I'll be able to get them.
Gene, let's be specific here. Let's not dance around the topic, right? Let's go right into it. Talk about scarcity and how the program leverages something that Apple has done very effectively as it relates to how they release new products, and why you see 100 people lined up outside the door of an Apple store when a new product is released, right? The key to it is scarcity as a marketing tactic. So Gene or Lisa, whoever wants to take it, describe the program as it relates to how it leverages scarcity, because I know I'm waiting for you to say the one thing where the room is going to go.
I have something I can say about that.
Yeah.
I can talk about the kind of like 3 upfront things that we do to create scarcity, but there's something that was on a team email that came across over the weekend that resonated with me. And I think the first part of this, most of us are pretty good at, and that is getting a seller to emotionally detach from their house. But what 72 Sold is incredibly good at, that I didn't realize we needed to be good at, is emotionally attaching a buyer to the house. So that's awesome. And I've been seeing great results with that. But how to create scarcity, what Apple does, when Apple releases a new phone or a watch or whatever, they don't show you 37 pictures of it. Like they show you the very best pictures of it. So that's the same thing, like we're with 72 sold, when we're putting the house on MLS, we're using fewer, better photos. So, think about, and I talk about this in the house with the sellers. Think about when you're shopping for a house and you're on Zillow and you're clicking through and like, I like this house. I like this house. Oh, wait, I don't like that bathroom. I don't like this house anymore. I'm going to skip it. So a 72 sold, instead of posting, 37 photos, you might have 9. Like you are showing only the very, very best features of the house, the things that people aren't going to object to, because you want to just get them in the door. Another thing is curiosity creating ad copy. So when the people are online, they're reading about the house. It's not saying this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home and, a sun-filled dining room. Like they can see that in the pictures. So you are saying something compelling in that ad copy that's going to get them to come to you. My favorite closer line on those is the seller has prioritized a quick sale over making every last penny. They're still going to make every last penny and 8.4 to 12% more pennies. But a line like that, like clicks in the brains of people like, oh, wow, like I could get a deal on this. I want to run over here and see like what kind of crazy deal this is. And then what am I forgetting?
Showing time.
We don't use it.
Talk about that.
Yeah, so typically we're not using showing time. The agents call us to schedule the showing. Now I will say I did on a super hot listing, I did use showing time, but I controlled when the showings were going to be because you are at the showings. So you are there at the showings, and that's how you are emotionally attaching these buyers to this house, because you are going to tell them the things that they couldn't possibly know unless you were there telling them. Like you were at my one party listing, and I think I told your buyer about how when the seller sits in that dinette in the summer and all the trees are filled in, it feels like she's sitting in her own private little tree house. And so, saying things like that to the buyers when they're in the house, like how would they know that if you're not there to tell them that?
Peter Gossman.
Yes, sir. Good
Uh,
morning.
Good morning. You've taken quite a few listings as it relates to this program. How are you managing the program as it relates to showing time, and how you leverage that as a way to create buyer attached emotional decision making? Because I think that's the one thing that I think people missed. The biggest nugget they've shared so far is they're transitioning from a seller detached emotional experience to creating a buyer attached emotional experience to drive an increased ROI on the listings they take. So Peter, how do you leverage a lot of people be like, how am I going to manage showing time if it's not, how am I going to manage showings if it's not in showing times? Or what is it that you've seen in the 4 listings you've taken through this program?
Well, the thing I like about the program is that we're actively selling the home. We're finding out from the seller what it is about the home that they love so that we can communicate that, like Lisa said, that beautiful tree-filled or shade-filled deck that they love, that wonderful sunrise that they can see. And we can express that to the buyer. We're actively selling the home. We're not just putting a sign in the yard and hoping for the best. So part of the whole program is based on using the psychology of sales to create urgency in the mind of the buyer, on the buy side. So we can take and we can use showing time, but we can block out certain times so that we're there. We already have urgency in this market, so we don't necessarily need to create the urgency that the program is talking about in the calls that we go on. But what we do is be at the showing and just say, listen, I'm just going to show you a couple of things that the seller is very excited about. And then I'll leave you alone and you can go walk with your agent and tell that to the agent too, so that we can tell what is the good thing about the house and drive emotional attachment with the buyer and make the buyer feel special. Then come back and say, tell me, how does this house compare to the other houses that you've seen? And then, the houses sell themselves. I don't know
So
if that's a question that you're asking, Charlie.
no, what I'm trying to do is give these guys nuggets as to how the system is different. If they want to know the system, they're going to have to invest in the program because I don't know all the details to be able to effectively give it to you in a 15-minute call. But one of the other ways in which that it's different, Gene, maybe you can talk about this as well, is like they don't utilize lockboxes, right, Gene?
Correct.
And give us the theory and how you create the emotional attachment on the buy side and leveraging a small piece of the equation of not using lockboxes.
So the foundation of that, just like Peter's been talking about here, the foundation of it is that we are going to sell that home within 8 days or less. Okay, so that's part of the promotion. We're going to sell it in 8 days or less. All right, we're going to sell, and we do. And then we identify all the buyers within 72 hours. We identify all buyers within 72 hours, and we actually create more buyers within 72 hours. Because where are all the buyers right now? We kind of like sometimes accept things from back in the 1980s or 1950s from when we're in real estate today. Where are all the buyers right now? Do they drive around looking for homes? They get a mailer? Nope, they're all on the MLS. They're all on the MLS. They're on the internet looking for the home. They're all out there. So we go active on a Friday, and that we have our big reveal event that following Saturday, a week from that Saturday, and we're booking everybody. That's the idea, that big event is going to happen. But what we do, because we're not on the showing time, those calls are going to come to us. And so, and when I get that call, I'm letting people know, man, I'm telling you, man, Charlie, this home, I've already had 27 calls on this home. I've had 370 clicks on it online. It's unbelievable. The people, I mean, this place is going nuts. If you want to get in and see this place, I can get you in Saturday, but tell me about your seller or your buyer. Tell me about your buyer. Are they super excited? Are they? Yeah, they are. Hey, I'll tell you what, Charlie, how about if I could get your buyer in on Tuesday ahead of everybody else? What do you, would that be good for you? Right? It's like excited. Awesome. Okay. I'm booking more people in on Tuesday. I'm giving them this opportunity. This is the scarcity thing you're talking. I'm getting them an opportunity. They can get in early before anything else comes, before anybody else gets to see the home. No lockbox, because I'm showing up, right? I'm showing up at the event, and I'm going to be there, and I'm going to go walk through this. And I had a couple of situations that have happened, Charlie. On one, we just closed on Friday. The buyer that came in, long story, but one of the buyers that came in, their agent couldn't make it. Their agent couldn't make it to the thing, so they sent them over to see me because I was going to be there anyway. And because I walked through this whole program with them and talked about the home and explained all the great opportunities and what was going on and all the peripherals, when that client was done with me, they were excited about it. Their agent called me that night, said, "Hey, my client is so excited about this home. I'm actually surprised because they want to put an offer in right away because I've showed them over 50 homes already." Well, the reason why they're excited because they got to talk to me. And I pointed out all the incredible features of that house. And so I was able to show them all the great things. So it just like Peter was selling, we're selling the home. I'm not just throwing it out on the MLS and just letting whatever comes in. I'm actually creating more activity and more energy around that home.
Cool. All right. I got last two questions, then we're going to transition on. And my goal here was to get you guys to think about scarcity. Big takeaway that I heard this last week, Lisa saying instead of doing 40 pictures, she does 9. Instead of doing a paragraph of ad copy, she does 3 sentences. Thinking about ways in which that you can create scarcity within your approach. Okay, final 2 questions. First, Peter, have you switched your listing system with listings that didn't come through the 72 sold program that you are now doing through Sphere of Influence and database?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. We use this program on everything that we do. When I get something from Sphere, when I get a referral, we talk about this program because sellers are hungry for something different. Keller Williams is a company based on models and systems. This is a proven system that we can take to sellers and tell them, listen, this is different. This is something that you won't see from another realtor, and it sets us apart. This was developed by a guy named Greg Haig, who's a fascinating guy. We have our team calls are too long. He's got to get information out and describe a new program that's confusing to people. But what really drives this is when he goes off script and talks about the passion that he has for keeping the listing agent in the center of the transaction. That's what sold me on the program. So our industry is under threat from the Zillows, from the Quickens, from the iBuyers, from the people that are going in and saying that they're going to give you a 4% or 3.9%, advertising that effectively. We have a way of coming into people and say, listen, this is a proven system. This is a guy that has 1% of the realtors in the Phoenix market, and he does 15% of the business almost. We have an exclusivity here only available through Keller Williams agents, and I can demonstrate to you that I can sell your home more quickly for top dollar than anybody else. And it's proven by 6 different studies. We get between 8.4% to 12.9% higher prices than similarly marketed homes in our MLS. Is that something that'd be worth it to you, Mr. Seller?
Lisa, have you changed your approach to how you take listings through your database and sphere of influence?
Oh, yeah, 100%. All of the listings that I've taken so far this year have been my own sphere listings. So I do receive leads from 72 Sold. I am, working through some of those leads. Some of them are going to come into listings eventually. But actually, okay, I did get a new listing last week from speaking at my own team meeting. An agent had a stale listing that had been on the market 100 days, was getting no traction. He referred it to me. I took it over on Friday. And yesterday, my sellers accepted one of 3 offers and are actually getting what they wanted originally in terms of price. So a listing that was on the market for 101 days, I took it, I worked it through the program, and happy ending story as of last night. It works. So.
Great story. Tosh, do you have a question?
I just wondered if this is all predicated on the $200 a month fee or the buy-in for $1,500 a month fee.
I'll share that with you here in 1 second. Okay, last question for the group, and then we're moving on. Gene, tangible results, how many listings you've taken, what the gross commission income you've earned on developing this program and implementing this system in your world in the Twin Cities.
So perfect. Before I answer that, you can see the information right up here. If you have anybody else in Minnesota that wants to get 8.4 to 12% more, let me know. Because I'm just giddy about this whole thing and what we're doing. So in our office, leads from 72 Sold, the program where you can buy leads. I know you're going to share that. We have 48,000 in GCI that just closed. Okay, so just closed 48,000 in GCI. I have 100,000, just over 100,000 GCI in command right now. That's either closed or is closing. Okay, so it's the listings that I've taken. So I have 3 that are in, they're going active, 1 that's closed, 3 other ones that are withheld and going active this month. With that, I also have it's a sell and a buy. So I also have the buyers on it. So it's $100,000 in commissions on that. I got all kinds of other statistics of a lot of other agents here at our office, and just lots of results. Steve Royal just took a $1.3 million listing from 72 Sold that came in as one of the leads. Yeah, I mean, I could go on and on, but we have a lot of business in the pipeline. Right, Gary Keller, what are we, 60 to 90 days out? We just started in January. This thing is just getting momentum from what we're doing, and yeah. So those are the results.
Peter,
Yes,
Peter,
sir.
tangible ROI that you've seen on your business since implementing this program.
We bought a $1,500 ad seat in January. They advertised on the NFL. For January and February, we had 15 leads. If my math is right, that's a lead cost of $100. We had $866,000 in sales, $31,176 GCI. After all costs and referral fees are paid out, that's a $22,929 net commission after all expenses paid out. I'd do that deal every day.
Hmm.
Now, we've had another round of ad that came in. And it was a little bit different, but our cost per lead now is $150. The target of the program is $300. So we're way outperforming the leads that are coming in for their projections. You know, anytime you start with a new program and roll it out nationwide, there's going to be some hiccups, but Greg has stood behind this in an incredible way. And I actually increased our ad spend for March and April. We committed again for May, and I'm sharing the leads with our team as a way to grow my business and grow their business. So it makes perfect sense. I would spend $4,500 to make $22,000 all day, every day.
Yeah, that's a 4 or 5x return.
Works for
So-
me.
Lisa, tangible results?
I didn't do my math, Charlie,
All good.
and I have to go to the dentist now.
You're good. All right. Gene, Peter, Lisa, appreciate your guys' time. My goal of it was to wet your whistle with some of the things that these guys have been implementing. And as Tosh asked, here's what I'd share with you if you are interested more in the program. 72 sold. It will challenge your traditional conventional wisdom is how you approach listings. Okay. There's 2 programs. One is $199 additional setup, $72 a month, therefore moving forward. There's no contract, so you can cancel at any time. This is the training and educational piece. You want to learn the scarcity system, it's $72 a month. You cancel it as soon as you feel like you got the system down. Again, it's a coaching and training opportunity. The second piece that some of these guys were referring to is these guys are, the 72 sold program is also running TV advertising and marketing on the Milwaukee DMA ad buys. Okay. And for $1,500 per seat, and you can buy multiple seats, you also are fed seller listings that come directly from the TV ad buy. This is where Peter was referring to have spent $4,500 to net a $22,000 return in total GCI. The reason I brought this up today was these guys are seeing tangible results as it relates to how they challenge their traditional thoughts and thinking around how they took listings. And I think what I tried to do is get them to share with you some of what it is that makes the program unique around not being available on showing time, limiting the number of photos, talking about your ad copy, limiting the lock boxes, not on showing time, all to drive buyer emotional attachment. And when you run the program effectively in creating buyer emotional attachment to a home is where they're seeing the 8 to 12% higher accepted offer price when it comes to the marketplace. So interested, feel free. Again, the reason I bring this up is I'm incredibly intrigued by a training and educational opportunity that I think would change the game. That's very, very unique in this market. And when you look at what they've done in Phoenix with 1% of the agent count and 15% of the market share, there is something to the magic that made me pause and think, what's going on here? However, the reason I hadn't rolled this out, even though I had seen it, is I wanted to see tangible results from Lisa and Peter and Gene to share with you tangible results. So I knew that you weren't wasting, if I was going to share with you something that I knew that you could get an ROI on. Does that make sense? Awesome. Guys, with that, there's your team meeting for the week. Upcoming training and events comes out every week. As a reminder, May 4th, this week, Thursday, there's a Focus Title Lunch and Learn out in Lake Country. And then May 13th, there's a KWYP event, which we'll talk about soon. Awesome, guys. Looking forward to seeing you. Reminder, no team meeting next week. Team meeting slides will be up on the website and no team meeting next week. Last thing, I just need your attention on one thing. Okay, I'm going to make your life easier. And for those that jumped off the call, they're going to miss this. Okay, we went from 96 to 67 in like 2 seconds. Here's what we're going to do moving forward, new listings. I'm always going to capture them after team meeting. Okay, on Mondays now, all 4 offices, as you do for Brokers Open, are going to get a request for you to enter new listings that aren't in the MLS that you know are coming. We are going to consolidate all this information for you on Monday afternoon and after team meeting on Tuesday to get you all 4 offices, for those that enter the information, new listings that are coming soon to try and get you and leverage our economies of scale to get you information faster and sooner as it relates to new listings. Now, here's where this will work effectively when you participate. So what that means is pay attention to Willis's emails that will come out on Monday afternoons. If you know you have something that's coming up, I'm not looking for stuff that's in the MLS. I'm looking for the stuff that you know that's coming up 3 to 4 weeks in advance. Again, to help create and gather information to our economies of scale. So we will be implementing that system here next week, Monday. Sound good? Beautiful. Lake Country, I'll let you jump over to the Lake Country meetup. North Shore and Innovation Crew will jump into the new listings. We'll consolidate everything and then share it back out. Sound good? Guys, have a beautiful Tuesday. Thanks, guys.